lying to the American people.
You don't know crap about this, Don. You're a TV guy. I was a Secret Service agent. A lot of one-issue voters vote on the Second Amendment issue.
That's our guest, Don Bongino, talking with CNN's Don Lemon taking Don Lemon to task on the Second Amendment. I know I left off with the question before we went to break, but I low-key just want to jump into this because I remember this exchange very vividly, and I remember saying on my TV like this, are they really taking this there? Like this is where we're going with this? Like we honestly believe that he was advocating people should just go out and cause harm to Hillary Clinton?
It was, what was really absurd about it is it wasn't just Don Lemon. Mm-hmm. There were a couple other people on the panel. And Trump's comments were pretty benign. He said something to the effect of, when he was talking about Hillary Clinton and the right to self-protection, he said, well, Second Amendment people, I don't know. And I watched that. And I mean, listen, I had endorsed Ted Cruz. I wasn't a Trump spokesperson. And I remember clearly they said, hey, do you want to come on tonight and talk about this from a Secret Service perspective? And you know what's funny about that hit? I wasn't going to do it. I was running for office at the time. I was really bored. I was really busy, not bored. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. And I wound up going in, and I'm sitting there, and I'm miffed, and I'm listening to, I forget who was on the panel, maybe David Gergen. They're all like, oh my gosh, this was a call to arms. Meanwhile, keep in mind, these are the same people who defend Barack Obama, who actually compared Republicans to Iranian hardliners. Yeah. Like, actually said it. Trump said nothing of the sort, and they're like, this is unbelievable. He's calling for, a potential assassination. I'm scratching my head on the panel. Like, this has to be the dumbest conversation. I'm losing brain cells every second of this conversation. And I was so frustrated.
I remember watching it, and I was like, wow. This is freaking happening right now.
He's telling me 12 years having done protective intelligence investigations and threat analysis with familiarity with the law. Don Lemon, who's a journalist, is telling me how the Secret Service is going to work on this. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. That's why I told him, like, Don, I was going to say something else. He would have had to beat me. I'm like, Don, you don't know crap about this. You know nothing. You're a TV guy. Like, you have literally have no idea what you're talking about.
No, he's not a TV guy. He's a professional troller. Don Lemon is a professional troller.
He doesn't. I'll say this, though. In his defense, I will say this, because I want to be. I've had it out with him a couple of times on his show, and I don't know if I'm banned still, but he's always invited me back. So in a mild moment of defense, after we've gone at it, like over Ferguson, he invited me back. So, whatever's good, I guess, for ratings.
Here's the thing about that, too, that I've noticed, because I've gone back and forth with this a couple of times with people. There are actually some instances where Don asks certain questions, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good question. Like, he'll kind of not criticize, but kind of just, with a little bit of cynicism, like, okay, and it's usually like hardline stuff that he should be going with, according to the CNN spiel, so to speak. So I'll give him that in that sense. That doesn't mean that I have to agree with him when it comes to the issue guns, because I don't. Yeah.
No, I feel the same way. Yeah. It's like there's the ideological divide between us. There's no bridge that could. But like I said, we went at it over Ferguson, where again he was trying to tell me what it was like to be a cop, and I was like scratching my head, like, is this happening? Yeah. And the next night they were like, hey, you want to come back? I was like, all right, whatever. I'm game. I'm always down for a good argument, So
yeah, no, I mean, I remember watching it vividly, and I think a lot of it too stems from the fact that they don't understand the gun culture. They don't understand how seriously we take this, and so I think when they heard, in my mind, I heard the comment that Donald Trump made, and I was thinking, almost if anything, he didn't want to offend the Second Amendment advocates, because he says, once you get in, there's nothing you can do. And it's like, well, no, there's a group of us over here who fight for this on a daily basis, and we're going to do everything in our power to stop that. But if you don't understand the culture, you don't understand how vehement we are about protecting this right. And since they don't pay attention to it, or they just cast this kind of blanket over it so nobody pays attention to it, that contextual aspect of it doesn't come into play for them.
No, that's a fantastic point. I read an article a long time ago that really touched me. It was about a year and a half ago. Jonah Goldberg wrote it at National Review, and it was about how the successful war on smoking, like very few people smoke anymore. But when I grew up, like my mother, everybody smoked. Like, it was just what you did. But now people have generally, the war on smoking was won. And Goldberg makes the case in relationship to the gun culture why the left will never win this fight, because everybody knew a smoker and they knew how to talk to him. Like, if you smoked and I wanted to talk you out of smoking, I know how to talk to you. Me and you were friends. Like, I could say, hey, what about this? What about your kids? What about that? But the problem with the left, as you just summed up accurately so, is They have zero interest in understanding gun culture. They'll never win this fight because what they don't understand is it's not a gun culture. It's a self-protection culture.
Yep.
You know, if you ask gun owners tomorrow, hey, tell you what, we're going to have the Almighty himself come down and wipe the stain of all weapons from the earth. No one will ever touch a weapon again. Every gun owner on the planet would be great. I don't need mine then. But that's not the world we live in.
You know what? I actually disagree with that. I wouldn't. Ironically, and the reason I'll give you my reason why right now. Okay, the reason why I wouldn't is because it doesn't eliminate violence. And when say for instance, if I'm at home and two guys kick in my front door, I'm going to be in a much better position to defend myself without weapons against two guys without weapons than say my mother who's by herself and two guys kick in her door.
I should have phrased it, and that I gave a speech that went viral on guns a long time ago to Rally. I should have phrased it differently. I used the term, if you could wipe the stain of violence from the human heart. That's more what I was trying to say. You're absolutely right. Like in a world full of sinners and fallible human beings, I want my daughter to have an advantage if some 300-pound monster grabs her. No, you're absolutely right. But the better way to say it is, I think you and I would agree on this.
Oh, yeah, the violence aspect,
if violence was a non-issue, and God came down tomorrow and said, listen, we're all angels, why are you going to carry around a heavy piece of metal all day? It's a waste of time. To do what? Look at it?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I've carried a gun my whole adult life. I enjoy shooting, but it's just the left that makes no attempt whatsoever to understand why people like to hunt, why people prefer to protect their families rather than live in fear. They make none. And that's why they'll never win this fight. And ironically, why since Barack Obama's been in office, gun ownership has gone up.
Yeah, I mean, and then the funny thing is that they actually blame the NRA for that, as I don't understand. It's like, well, no. If you look at when the other side is largely quiet about the issue of firearms, people are cool. They're content with having the guns that they have and going out and shooting. The moment they start talking reckless and start talking about we want to ban this assault rifle or we want to implement this, then we're like, okay, all right, these morons might actually have a chance at doing this. So let me go ahead and just make sure I get everything I need now, because I'm going to have to deal with the stupidity of these ridiculous laws at some point in the future, and I don't want no parts of that. All right, make your last, I know you want to get your last point in real quick, and we're going to take a break.
Yeah, no, they blame the NRA for anything. I mean, they blame the NRA for like the cancellation of Seinfeld or going off I mean, it's just a pinata for the left, and that's why no one takes them seriously.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back.